So, this one's gonna be about the best self-help books you can read in 2019. But before we actually going through that, there is something else we have to go through. But more after the intro, as every single day. As every day! Because this is what I'm doing. The fuck? I don't know either. I really don't know either. But with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I'm pumped. I'm pumped to be on this episode. I'm pumped to produce this episode. I'm pumped to record this episode. And yeah, if you want to actually listen to this particular episode, so if you're just on YouTube and you're just viewing this video and you're just seeing okay, this video is 30 minutes long, or probably a little bit less, and or maybe even a little bit more, and you think well, I do not actually have the time to go through a fucking 30-minute video, then I would highly suggest to go down into the description, because there should be the link to the podcast, which means that you can listen to this whole experience. You can listen to this particular video, which is way more efficient, and it is actually something that I suggest. I do not even want you to be on this video if you do not have the time, because of course there are upsides and there are downsides of either watching the video and or listening to the podcast. If you're watching the video, you're seeing everything that I might be showing, and if you're in a podcast, it is way more efficient. So we have to choose. But therefore, I'm also having two options, so that you can actually choose what is working better for you. And because I do want you to just choose what is working better for you. This is why I'm having both of the things. But yeah, as I said before, we're going to talk about the best books you can read in 2019, just self-help books, because this is what the podcast is all about. But before we're actually going through that, there's another really great article from Seth Godin, that he was actually publishing today, or that he published today, and it is a pretty interesting one. It's actually also, as you can see, a relatively long one, so I'm a little bit sorry if this just takes some time, but I'm trying to be as fast as I possibly can be. Therefore, yeah, and I, by the way, hope that the audio is also fine, since I'm only having one blanket in front of me. Maybe I should actually have some shit here and there as well, so that there's just a little bit of noise blocking all around. But yeah, let's actually go through this great experience. Let's see. It's actually a really long one. I think it is actually one of the longest Seth Godin articles and or blog posts that I've seen up to this point, I guess. But I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. Bread and books. 20 years ago, I met the most famous baker in the world. I was in Paris for a speech and visited Hoyland, which is probably the wrong pronunciation, or maybe it's Poland. Could be the case. I don't know. I do not speak French besides je suis au croissant, or actually je suis en croissant, or croissant, or je m'appelle Christopher, or je suis Christopher is also just a way to say it, I guess. And other things, other things that probably everyone is able to say. So I was in Paris for a speech and visited Poland, a bakery much smaller than its reputation would lead you to believe. I was hoping to take home an unbaked kilo of dough, a sourdough, one that I could use to spawn hundreds of new loaves over the years. Proud of my sneakiness, I began by ordering $30 worth of loaves and tarts, and then offhandedly said, "And an unbaked loaf, please." The clerks would have none of this. It was impossible. It wasn't done, and it wasn't permitted as well. Bluffing, I said, "I'm confident that Mr. Paulin, or M. Paulin, would be okay with it." One cue, a door behind the counter opened, and a handsome man dressed in a smoke came out to introduce himself. Even before he spoke, I could see the sparkle in his smile, and I figured he would hit it off. Or we would hit it off. Instead of showing me, or shooing me actually, he invited me into his office. He spent 2 or 3 hours together that day talking about his work. He showed me his huge library and his history of bread, and we hung out in the basement, where it was over 100 degrees because of the wood-burning ovens. He sent me home with 2 kilos of unbaked dough. I kept starter alive for years. Lionel understood that bread shared wasn't bread lost, and that no one was going to be able to steal his sourdough, even if they grew their own version at home. Over several years, he and I got together for lunch, for long lunches in Paris when I was in town for a speech. I taught him about the internet, and he taught me about the magical intersection between generosity and idiosyncrasy. An idiosyncrasy is an unusual feature of a person. It can also mean an odd habit. The term is often used to express eccentricity or peculiarity. A synonym may be quirk. You can also just do it easy. You could also be doing it in an easy way. I do, by the way, hope that I don't know what happened just right now, but something broke, and I'm really not sure if I should actually not disable it again and try it once again. I'm just cutting it anyway, so it's probably not going to be in the episode. Therefore, let's see. Ideas, bread, and books all are the same. They are better when they are shared. The posture of generosity and connection replaces a mindset of scarcity, and Lionel modeled this philosophy every day. When he and his wife were killed in a tragic helicopter crash, he left behind friends all over the world as well as 2 teenage daughters. I honored his memory in the best way I could think of by dedicating a book to him. My challenge was that I didn't have a book in the works, nor was I planning to write one. The book I wrote so that I could have a book to dedicate to Lionel was Purple Cow. It captured his energy and his care and his impact on so many, and it changed the arc of my career as a writer as well. So it was actually a win-win situation, since it is actually one of the books, or one of the most famous books that Seth Godin wrote in his entire fucking career, which is really cool then, that he was able to just contribute this to a certain purpose, a certain purpose that is really valuable to him, and also just had its other upsides. It's just amazing to see. It really is just amazing to see. Lionel's eldest daughter, Apollonia, immediately stepped up and took over the bakery, a task that few outsiders felt she could handle. After all, she was only a kid, and the patriarchal mindset in the industry and city didn't help. Not only has the quality of the bakery been maintained, but its impact has only grown. Apollonia has modeled the clarity and contribution of her dad and has shown us what it means to share ideas and to lead. From this moment on, she showed up in a way that honored the memory of her parents, generosity and abundance, and idiosyncrasy, in service of craft and community. Her new book, her first in English, is out this week. Her dad changed my life, and her bread and the way she talks about it might change yours. So that's actually, you know what? I'm having a look at the book. It's probably going to be an Amazon site. Yeah, it is an Amazon site. I just try to show it in a way so that you can't see my fucking address, which is something that happened to me before, and it really is fucked up. But as you can see, it is Polonia. I really hope that the pronunciation isn't that off. I guess it is, but the secret of the world-famous bread bakery. And the funny thing is, the hardcover version is $25. The Kindle version is $27. So I would actually highly suggest to go with the hardcover version, unless it is actually something that you don't do, unless it is actually more of a burden if you're having the hardcover version than if you would just be having the Kindle version. Which could also be the thing. I don't know how you think about these certain things. As I said before, by the way, great article. Really, really, really great article. I'm still a little bit sorry that I might have not been, unless I've actually cut everything out that wasn't really that nice and fluent. I'm very sorry if the whole reading wasn't that good today. My whole reading in general isn't really good. It's just who I am. I'm also just a really fucking poor reader when it comes to reading in German. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what happened to me as a child that I'm just really unable to read, I guess. I've ever been an avid reader? Not really. Sometimes. And I had periods in my time or in my life actually, where I read quite a lot. This is something that I have to say and I have to point out. But sometimes I enjoyed it actually. I'm also having one of Seth's books, which is This is Marketing. And I think it's a pretty great book, but you have to understand it. And once you have actually understood it, it is really great book. The problem with it is that I wasn't really able to understand it up to this point, and I think I have to reread it once again, which would then would be the third time actually, because I've read it once, then No, it would actually be the second time I read it. The problem was I've started to read it, and then I just somehow kind of stopped reading it, and then I again started reading it, which kind of felt like 2 times, but it wasn't really 2 times. It was only a little bit more like 1 time. I have seen and I have chosen this one, the best self-help books to read in 2019 according to Amazon and Goodreads. I think I've just chosen this one just because it is according to Amazon and Goodreads, and I think it's based on ratings. This might be a problem, and it's definitely also going to be a problem because the ratings are not always good, or the ratings are not always according to the value the book can give you, because the thing is, people think differently. We all are individuals. We all are thinking about those things in a different way, which means one of these books that I'm then heading through might change your life. But for somebody else, it might just be a really waste of time. but you can't know that before you actually read the book. And this is maybe the problem. Reading a summary then might actually be a pretty great help, because it kind of ensures, maybe, even though this is also some kind of a tricky thing to say, because summaries are not always good. It depends on what summary it is, and it depends on whether it's free or not, because most often the free summaries are just really short, first of all, and I don't know if they are that good. But the thing is, it's better than nothing, I guess. It's really better than nothing to somehow see, as I said, if you actually like the book or not, because I don't know, it might not be about the money, but it might definitely be about time, and for some people, as it just might be for me, it's definitely about money, because I do not have to, and I do not want to spend my money on something that I do not enjoy. Then I'm just trying to only pick things that I'm then also going to enjoy. But yeah, enough talking, more books. Best-selling authors like Marie Kondo, Sincero, and Brené Brown are waiting to motivate and inspire you. So you want to make a career move, figure out how to be more productive, or get over an emotional stumble. Basically all of these things. We asked Goodreads to recommend the self-improvement books that most resonate with its readers, because the best way to judge a self-help book is by asking the people who have tried and tested the advice. Right? On top of that, Sarah Wilson, senior editor at Amazon Books, shared her hot list with us. So get to browsing and get blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, cool. The first book actually is Car Wash. What the fuck? Why Car Wash? Girl, Wash Your Face Off. Girl, Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. Stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you are, or who you were meant to be. Actually a pretty great thing. The problem there is, because actually this is something that I'm talking a lot about. The problem there is, if you're really trying to be truthful to yourself, if you're really trying to be, which implements that, if you're really trying to just be who you are meant to be, you have to really be honest to yourself. The thing is, we all want to be famous, some sort of, not actually everybody, but a lot of people want to be famous, and a lot of people want to have a lot of money, a lot of people want to have this, want to have that, and whatsoever. But we are all not meant to have those things, and we all are not meant to be a certain person. We all are definitely not meant to be an athlete, just because we might not be as good as somebody else in this specific sport, or it might just be about something completely different. You might also not be capable of doing that because of the pressure, you would have to deal with. Could also be a factor, I don't know. But we are not all meant to be an athlete, nor are we all meant to be an entrepreneur or a painter or an artist or somebody else. We are just meant to be us, or we are just meant to be what we are meant to be. And this is something we really have to be honest about, because if you kind of lie to yourself, then obviously it is not who you are meant to be. And therefore you do just really have to be honest to yourself and truthful, even though if the truth might not be something that you want to see. The truth is not always something good, maybe not always something that is just letting you enjoy your life, and or something else. In this New York Times bestseller, Rachel Hollis, founder and CEO of the chicksite.com, identifies 20 lies people tell themselves to hold themselves back. Using her own messy life as test case, she shows how to stop saying things like "I'll start tomorrow" or "I'm a terrible writer" to live a more joyful and productive life. Hollis' follow-up, Girl, Stop Apologizing, is out in March 2019. This was recommended by Goodreads and Amazon. Do they always say like it's... Oh my god. The second book is Angela Duckworth's Grit, and it is actually not a really new one. I wouldn't even say... It's definitely not from 2019, but it is a really, really, really great book, and I know that it is recommended, or that it gets recommended by a lot of great personalities. For example, I would argue Tom Bilyeu. I think it is actually in his top reading list. I think so, actually, but fortunately he's having a reading list online. Therefore we can have a look. The first one is Mindset. I haven't really enjoyed Mindset just because it is so scientific and I didn't understand everything or anything, and then it's a little bit fucked up. The second one is Extreme Ownership, then Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, Man's Search for Meaning, and then we see is Angela Duckworth's Grit. And grit basically is about, it is a new term. Grit is a new term that somehow has something to do with discipline and just doing shit. Maybe there's actually something in this little description there is. If you're feeling bad about a lack of natural genius or familial advantages, researcher Angela Duckworth gives you reason to buck up. She's found that what she calls grit, a combination of passion and perseverance, is more important than anything in it. It visits with high achievers from spelling bee champions to CEOs and show how grit helped them get where they are. Which actually looks like, seems to be a pretty good book. I think went through just a couple of summaries on that book, some longer ones and some shorter ones. And it actually is a great thing to think about and to read. And just because I only went through summaries, I don't really want to say that the book is good. The summaries were totally fine, they were totally good, and it was also a pretty interesting concept that she's explaining there, just because I really think that it is true that of course we all are having certain, or some of the people are having rich parents, which actually gives you a lot of opportunities. It is what it is, we just can be really truthful about that. But if you're having passion for something, and if you're also having the quote-unquote grit, which means perseverance, for me, grit actually is something like discipline. But yeah, just as a side note. But if you're actually having passion and perseverance, then why shouldn't you be able to get what you want to have? If it is actually something that you're passionate about. And this is again another point you have to be truthful about, because are you really passionate about that, or do you really want to be passionate about it, but you are not? And perseverance is something for me, you are doing it, even though it is tough sometimes, even though you do not want to do it sometimes, even though this and that. So I think for me, it is actually correlated to, and quite similar to discipline, perseverance. Medicine is a field which requires dedication and perseverance, persistence, tenacity, determination, and those things. Yeah. No, not really discipline. It's something else. It's something else. I kind of feel like discipline is something like, okay, you're just doing it because you have to do it for me, and just because you're disciplined, and it is really not something that is fun for you. But for me, perseverance is more like it is actually something that you like. So it's for me at least. At this point in time, as I'm just reading it, I kind of feel about it in that way. Have I actually read the whole one? Yeah, I think. Recommend by Goodreads and Amazon. Thanks. Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, or Rims. How to Dance It Out, Stand in the Sun and Be Your Own Person. Everybody knows Shonda Rhimes as the creator of hit shows like Grey's Anatomy. What the fuck? I didn't know that. Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder. But even if you're not in the TV biz, you can still get inspired or get inspiration from her memoir, which chronicles a year where she vowed to say yes to everything that scared her. After reading what Rhimes was able to accomplish, you might be wanting to attempt something you have been terrified to do too. And this actually is recommended by Goodreads only. So there is actually kind of a reason behind always pointing out that it is recommended by somebody, or was recommended by somebody. Just actually ranting about it. I think I'm not going to read every single description, but this article is definitely going to be down in the show notes and or in the description of the video. The next one is Gmorning Night, or Good Morning and Good Night by Lin-Manuel Miranda, which is a New York Times bestseller, and it is all about sleep, I guess. Little pep talk for me and you. I guess. I don't know. Sometimes you don't need a mind-changing philosophy, you just need a fast pep talk. If that's the case, you need Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda in your corner. The book's origin are from Twitter. He started and ended each day with little bit-sized affirmation, whatever. Example, do not get stuck in the comments section of the life today. He offers new insights in his book, but still easy to read in short bursts. The next one is How to Be a Bawse by Lilly Singh. Also seems to be a pretty good book, hopefully about Superwoman. This is what I've wanted to hear actually. Lilly Singh, actress, comedian and creator of her Superwoman show on YouTube, offers her advice on success and shares what she learned on her way to internet superstardom. Really interesting, especially for those women outside. Because it's actually the case that besides Angela Duckworth, there is a lot of men that are writing books on self-help, and there are a lot of men that are really famous through writing self-help books, I have to say. And it is always nice to just then see a woman as well, because that just has to be somebody for the girls and has to be somebody for the woman in the world. The next one is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. It is actually, I've went through an article from the ideas.ted.com site, and she's also having a TED Talk, so you might be listening to the TED Talk. I think it is actually, and I think I've actually went through the book as well, as a summary again. As a summary, so I don't know, but I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed the... Like, I can't say anything about the writing style, and I can't definitely say anything about the basically how the book is feeling, some sort of, just because I only went through a summary. But I think the insights were quite great. The next one is Gretchen, Rubin, Outer Order, and Inner Calm. Declutter and organize to make more room for happiness. Then You Are a Badass at Making Money by Sincero. I've actually also went through a guess. I'm not quite sure, but I think I've also went through a summary on this book, and I've really not liked it. I don't know why, and I do not want to say that it is a bad book. You know, I really don't want to say it just only because I felt like it is not a really good summary and or a good book. I really do not want to say that. So if you want to check it out, please check it out. And yeah, Presence by Amy Cuddy. Bringing your boldest self to your biggest challenges. Presence feels at once concrete and inspiring, simple but ambitious. Above all, truly powerful, by the New York Times Book Review. The next one is Lightly by Francine Jay. Then How to Not Die by Michael Greger, MD, which is a book on nutrition. And I've actually wanted to go through it on a podcast, you know, because I found a really great article and actually a book summary, and it is a really long book summary. It's been by the alancheng.com website, which is an tremendously amazing site for book summaries, because they are so incredibly long, you know, and so incredibly detailed. Then I really have to say that there is no need for you anymore to read the book, you know, that actually by going through this summary, you actually have read the book, you know, I really can say that. But the thing is, it is always a little bit of a difficult thing to go through nutritional books and books on nutrition on podcasts and talking about them in public and whatnot, because first of all, I'm not a scientist, and I can only talk about those things and tell you what I think about those things, and I can only talk about those things to actually end my sentence, that I know things about and that I believe in, and those things. Therefore, it's a little bit complicated. It's really complicated, and often I then feel like that I might be talking about some things and or I might be giving wrong information and or false information, which is something that I really do not want to do, because it wouldn't really feel good. Therefore, if you want to just go through the book, I might also be linking down the summary in the description if I'm not forgetting about it. Hopefully won't forget it. But yeah, I think it is a great book according to the ratings that I've seen and according to other people that have read it. It's quite a good book. The next thing is to actually also show you Deep Work by Cal Newport. And I somehow think that I went through Deep Work, and I've also not liked it that much, just because it was also so scientific and I didn't understand anything. But this is just my thoughts, you know, this is just what I kind of felt about that. The next one is Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull, president of Pixar Animation and Disney Animation, with Amy Velez, which is actually pretty nice. You know, it sounds great. You know, if you can somehow talk to the president of Pixar Animation and Disney Animation as well, it really sounds great. Principles by Ray Dalio, amazing book. Went through a summary, and as you can see on the front page, or on the cover actually, Bill Gates wrote something and Tony Robbins wrote something. Bill Gates said, Ray Dalio has provided me with invaluable guidance and insights that are now available to you in Principles. And Tony said, I found it to be truly extraordinary. Every page is full of so many different distinctions and insights, and I love how Ray incorporates his history and his life in such an elegant way. And it is basically all about Ray Dalio's life, but it is just also about his principles, you know, and they somehow get explained throughout his life, some sort of. I went through a really great summary on this book. It should also be linked down in the description, because it's also on the alancheng.com website. It's just an amazing website. The next one, Make Your Bed by Admiral William H. McRaven. It seems to be a relatively old book, according to the cover. You know, it could also just be looking old. The Little Book of Hygge, or Hygge, I don't know, not quite sure. Then The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. By the way, Mark Manson is having a really great blog and or website with a lot of great articles. You could definitely also check that out. Then Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. Amazing book. Amazing book. I think it is one of the easiest ones to consume, since it's so diversified, you know, and there's so many different things you can be just finding in the book. It's great. Also went through it as a summary, also on the alancheng.com website, and I think on another website as well. The Miracle Morning, I've also liked that. Also went through it as a summary. Brené Brown, Braving the Wilderness. I don't know. I have never ever just seen the book, but she's having a PhD, which always is something nice, I guess. No, not always, but often. Then again, Rising Strong by Brené Brown. And that's quite it. And I do hope that you found a great book, and I do hope that I've been able to inspire you with some book ideas. And I really also hope that I was able to kind of give you suggestions. What I would definitely say that you should read Principles. This is my suggestion. Then I'm also really into creativity, which is just from the president of Pix Animation and Disney Animation. This is the only reason why I would actually suggest it, because deep work is also a good one. I don't know if I've liked it. I kind of feel like that I have not liked it, and I also kind of feel like that I've liked it in a certain way. But yeah, deep work is still a really good book. How to Not Die. Just check it out. Really check it out and see for yourself if there's something that you just believe in. And there's just something else. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up Your Room, or Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. Also something that I can highly suggest. Grit as well, and that's quite it then. I think I'm gonna end the episode there. I do hope that it was great. I do hope that the experience is great. I do hope that the cutting also was pretty great. I know the cutting out of things that are unnecessary, I guess. But yeah, this is gonna be the end of the episode. I hope you've liked it. Never mind. I wish you the best health, happiness, and all success, and I also hope that you're going to remind yourself when you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, which means that you're a nice person, then also going to be remembered as a nice person. The problem there is that we are 7.7 billion people on this fucking planet, which makes it a little bit of a difficult thing to be liked by everyone. There's going to be some people that don't like you. It is what it is. 3 other questions that I hope that you're going to ask yourself are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? I hope these 3 questions are showing you your purpose in life, and maybe even a business idea, since a lot of businesses started out with doing something or fixing something that really pissed them off, And you might know it yourself, and there might definitely be something that isn't fixed at this point in time, and that is really bothering you. But yeah, I'll see you the next time. And you're hopefully gonna subscribe, right? So that I'm actually also gonna see you the next time, right?